extra time, waiting for the acolyte. I am gonna catch that fool. You will think I'm really cool. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I'll do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super breed. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you. Just watch me, mouse. Just watch me catch you, catch you, catch you. All I wanna do is impress you with my mouse trap. All I wanna do is convince you with my cheese. All I wanna do is be the coolest cat here, but I'll need some more super breed. Oh, but I need some more super breed. Oh, but I need some more super breed.
Hello, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. Today is... What day is it today? What month is it? It's August, right? It's August. That's the 8th month. It's August 15, 2025. And the summer heat is raging. Hopefully everybody is doing well today. Welcome on in. Looks like there's a few dragon hunters in the chat here getting ready ahead of us starting things up here. Welcome on in, Hank and Yappy. Nice to see you. Hazel, hey, Matt. Michelle, nice to see you. Peter's out there looking for some more challenging goals, eh? Fleming, welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. Hello, Eric. Good morning to you as well. Emma, Andrish, nice to see you. Trevor, well, welcome back. You know what, Trevor, that's right. Actually, I have not joined you all on a Friday in a few weeks. Jacob has been kind enough to be was kind enough to do 3 Feedback Fridays in a row. I was working on a trap skin for the Boiling Cauldron trap for Halloween 2, which turned out pretty cool if you ask me. It was neat to see so many hunters giving input on how that trap skin was going to go, a little bit of creative inspiration, maybe a few hunter suggestions find their way, get etched into the trap skin a little bit. Welcome on in, Tarako. Sarah's nice to see you. Matt and Lisa. Well, today we're going to take a look at the upcoming expansion to the Folklore Forest. It's 2 new areas. It's part 1 of the finale to the region. Not the finale to the entire game. Every once in a while somebody kicks around a considerable that, but to the region as we get a little bit closer to finally being able to thwart the Mythweaver. It's part 1 of that finale. It's 2 areas: the Afterword Acres and the Epilogue Falls. So we'll take a look at that as well as how those 2 areas will be introduced, and that is with a farm to table bonus loot event. And I have the fantastic Norm joining me as well today. How you doing today, Norm?
Thank you. I like that title, a fantastic Norm. That's a new one. I'll take it. Thanks, Dave.
Do what I can. But the farm to table event, that's going to fire up. That's going to be here before you know it, because it's starting next week, right?
On Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. That's right.
Cool. Now it's been a little bit. I'm trying to remember last time we did a farm to table, but it's all about double loot. And if hunters out there, if you haven't done a farm to table before, the things that get doubled in the farm, it's about the farm, the pond, and the table of contents. You've got seeds, mulch, papyrus, crop coins in the farm. In the pond, you get grubs, clams, ink, pond pennies. In the table, it's the derby curds and the novel prizes, including those ones you get for publishing. But there's a couple new things. One's an update to what gets doubled, and one's a brand new item being added as well. I mean, you can tell us a bit about those 2 items, Nor.
So the rainbow nibs, that's the new, completely brand new item. So the item will drop for players who have unlocked both the silver and the golden quill. You have to have both those things unlocked before these drops begin. Then once they're going, you will get them from the Mythweaver exclusively. It's the only mouse that does it. So, if you're hunting M1000 to build up your volumes, that's fine. But the M1000 will not drop this. Only the Mythweaver. And I'll tell you the way the drop works is the Mythweaver will always drop 1, which gets doubled by the event and can also be doubled by condensed creativity. But the chance of him dropping 1 increases based on the volume you're at. So the higher the volume, the higher the chance to drop it, and at a certain point, it's guaranteed. So once you reach a specific volume and beyond, the Mythweaver will drop it every time. So, in the beginning, it's pretty rare. Like your first couple of Mythweavers are going to be pretty rare, but then once you get a few volumes in, you'll start to see them more and more frequently, and then at a certain point, it's every time.
Cool. So that's good to know. If you're hunting the Mythweaver and he's not dropping a nib, as you go further, then eventually it becomes guaranteed. So, nothing's broken at the start. You just have to get into a higher level of encyclopedia.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, too, I think there's a caveat there, as well. You need to have the silver and the gold quill for it to drop, right?
That's right. It won't even start dropping until you have those. So it is added to the HUD, like in the little inventory section there on the left of the HUD and in the browser anyway, and also in mobile for that matter. It'll now be a new item that's in the HUD, but yeah, it will not even begin to drop until after both silver and gold quill have been unlocked.
So that's definitely a good goal for hunters out there. If you're looking to get the most out of the farm to table event, is make sure you have the 2 existing quills ahead of time. That's maybe some good prep to do before the event starts. If you're looking for a weekend goal in MouseHunt.
So I'm going to address one comment in the thread here. This is a good question. Is the amount of nibs the same regardless of the volume? Yes. The amount is always 1, but of course doubled by the event, and then that doubles by condensed creativity as well. So during the event, you can get up to 4 per hunt, but the Mythweaver always drops 1 as a baseline. It's just the chance that changes. So unlike the kilohertz processors, which are related the quantity is related to the volume, this is the chance to loot it is related to the volume. That's an important distinction.
Yeah. Michelle's wondering what that magic number is where the Mythweaver becomes guaranteed to drop.
I don't know. Is that something we want to reveal, or
it's a plausible level of encyclopedia, though.
Yes,
it's an accomplishable feat. It's nothing too extreme. Maybe we can hint that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's a decent volume, but it's by no means like record breaking kind of stuff, right? It's like a good run. You'll probably reach it again with the silver and golden quill, which you would need to have anyway.
Yeah, Jennifer there in the chat asking if you can start a run. Maybe you can try to set yourself up at a high encyclopedia level, and then they'll start dropping right away.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. For example, if you wanted to say use 1000th Draft Derby to really boost your volume quickly, and then switch back to Final Draft, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically, as soon as you have the silver and gold quill, the Mythweaver will have a chance to drop it on every single catch. And the chance, as I said, is related to the volume. So whichever order you do things, it will all work out the same. Absolutely.
Would you say you can probably anticipate having to do more than one encyclopedia run during the event, would you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't expect to get it in one run. That would be pretty extraordinary. Not impossible, but extraordinary. I would imagine you might need a few.
All right. Get out your ultimate charms. Challenge accepted. Try to do it in a single run.
Okay, so I didn't say that for the record. That was Dave. That was not me, for the record. Ultimate charms are not necessary.
So one thing to remember too is that all of this are permanent additions to the table of contents. The nibs, the new Rainbow Quill upgrade that you can unlock using those nibs. The Mythweaver dropping the nibs. That's all permanent addition to the table of contents going forth for here and forever. But during the farm to table event, the drops are all doubled. So, you can reach that goal a little bit quicker. But one thing that will only be around during the farm to table event is a way to tie it in with the upcoming 2 new areas being released, a way to get the map piece that will unlock both of those areas. That is just going to be temporarily available during the farm to table loot event as a loot drop from the Mythweaver. Then after the event, obviously new hunters need a way to get that map piece as well. It'll be available in the Draconic Depths sold for opals. So if you pick up the map piece during the farm to table event, you can get it as a loot drop, meaning there's not a direct shop cost associated with the map. In a way, you're getting the map for free, besides your time and your effort to hunt the Mythweaver. But if you don't get it this way during the farm to table event, then it'll be available for opals in the Draconic Depths.
And a quantity of gold.
And a quantity of gold. As well as the map piece drop. Will you need to have the Rainbow Quill to get the map piece to drop?
That is correct. So once you have unlocked the Rainbow Quill, your very next Mythweaver catch will drop the map piece guaranteed. So once that's unlocked, you're good to go. And probably should reiterate, I think you mentioned this before, but the Rainbow Quill, in order to unlock it, will require a quantity of nibs in addition to Nobel prizes, crop coins, pond pennies, and gold. Similar to all of the other upgrades in that area. But yeah, once you click the unlock button on that Rainbow Quill, your very next Mythweaver catch will drop the map piece.
Cool. So you're saying good prep to do. Make sure you have some cheese. Make sure you have that silver and the gold quill. And then kind of the journey of the event is getting enough nibs to unlock the Rainbow Quill, catching one more Mythweaver to get the map piece. And then you still have all these double loot drops as well. So during the rest of the event, you can be acquiring some resources.
After maybe some more pennies for the upgrade, but and you could use the rest of the event to loot those.
Oh, and one of those items, so you can keep collecting nibs even after you have the Rainbow Quill upgrade. So to have a use for those extra nibs, rather than, we could have had the nibs stop dropping once you have enough to afford the upgrade, but thought maybe it'd be fun to have another unstable item in the game as a way to use up those extra nibs. For a small but still cool little bonus, nothing game changing, and that is the unstable Rainbow Inkwell. So that'll be available from the general store at the table of contents. Is that right, Norm?
That's correct. Yep.
Well, we grabbed a quick screenshot of just a few of the items you can expect to find when you use this unstable item in varying quantities. And so kind of the theme of it being items that are related to the entire region of the folklore forest. So a nice wide variety of items, maybe a little bit of everything type, a little sampler pack, if you will. But there's one very special item, actually, even in the screenshot, that may not look familiar right now. That may not even be discovered yet. Maybe tell us a little bit about that item, Nor.
So you were referring to the metaphor morsel, which you'll see sort of right at the top here. They're not guaranteed to appear in every inkwell, but they're fairly common. So this is an item that will be used in the acres and the falls to craft one of the cheeses.
Cool. So it's kind of a good way to get a few pieces of cheese before the areas are even released. And would you say it's just a little sample of the cheese, or is it nothing too significant?
Yeah, it'll be a small set. And I want to be clear that you're getting the ingredients, not the cheese itself. So you can save them up, and then once the area launches, then you can turn it into the cheese when you're in the area. So this is not the cheese. This is the item to make the cheese. But yeah, it'll be a small sample. How we often do for these pre-release events, you get like a little bit of something to get you going, but it's not going to be an overwhelming advantage that somebody who didn't accomplish it is missing out on. It'd be like, maybe you get, I don't know, a couple dozen pieces of cheese or something like that. I'm not really sure exactly how it would work out off the top of my head, but yeah, it's just a nice little starter pack, I guess you could say.
A little head start. You get to dive and experiment with it a little bit right away. Should we open up? Should we poke some of these wells, or uncork, I should say?
Uncork, that's right. And yeah, and again, with these specifically, like, it's sort of up to you, right, with how you play is, because obviously you want to get the Rainbow Quill first, and then after that's unlocked, whatever time left you've got in the event, you could choose to spend it to get more nibs. And so the number of inkwells you get will vary based on your experience and the amount of effort you want to put in and that kind of thing.
And nice thing too, then the farm to table event, there's something for everybody. Even if you have every single upgrade and everything, there's, for the the last half of the event or something, there's, maybe another resource you can have fun stockpiling a little bit of to feel a little bit extra prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ala's asking also, I think we answered this earlier, but will nib drops also be doubled by condensed creativity?
That is correct, yes. So doubled by the event and doubled by condensed creativity. But to be fair, if you're going after the nibs, you'd probably want to be using condensed creativity anyway, because it doubles your words, which means you're going to reach higher volumes faster. So just like any time when you're doing like a serious table of contents encyclopedia run, you'd want to use condensed creativity to get as far as you can. So it'll double as well. So 2 becomes 4, and then after the event, 1 becomes 2.
I'm uncorking a few ink here.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of mulch. Got some hashes. Got some grubs. I'm looking for morsels, Nora.
Yeah.
Can we find
every inkwell will have some resource from each folklore forest area. So there's sort of like a slot for each area. You'll always get something from one of each area.
Yeah, and the derby curds as well. When you think about, you get these
and
in the
Mythweaver,
yes. you get back some derby curds as well, and just replenish your stash a little bit from where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's the one thing that is guaranteed. Every inkwell has derby curds, and I believe the quantity is always the same for derby curds. And maybe the quantity is the same for the others. I'd have to look at it again. It's been a little while.
So I think that sums up the Rainbow Inkwell. And again, that's a permanent addition. That's going to be available in the general store at the table of contents permanently. The Rainbow Nibs will always be dropped by the Mythweaver once you have the Rainbow Quill as well. That's not part of the farm to table loot event. Really, the farm to table loot event just doubles those loot drops as well. So it's a little extra, extra loot while the event's active, and it introduces the map piece. You'll be able to get the map piece as a drop from the Mythweaver during the event. After the event, then it's sold in the Draconic Depths. So you can kind of get the map piece for quote-unquote free during the event as a pre-release. Also, maybe you don't quite have access to the Draconic Depths yet. There's a little bit of a way to find a shortcut into the area, if you will, even if you're not quite ready to be collecting opals and get it in the other way. Well, if you get it during the event, then you can kind of sneak your way into those areas just a touch sooner than otherwise maybe you would be able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can take a look at the Afterword Acres, and it's really where their journey is going to begin.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a little bit about what awaits hunters in the Afterword Acres.
Yeah. So that's a great distinction to start off with. Is that your journey begins here? This should be the first area you go to when the event launches. Both areas are open and available from the beginning, but your journey should begin here. So the main goal to sum up this area would be to, as you said there, fight the blight and make poetic planks. That's the sort of the item that you're needing to get, and that's the item that you're going to want to take to the Epilogue Falls. And of course, in your general cycle of playing things, you'll do it's meant to. There's a lot of back and forth. You make some planks and you go to the falls, and you come back and you make more, and the whole thing loops together. But so essentially, you've got your 3 trusty droids, and you can choose where to put them. And they have 3 different tasks you can assign. You can harvest logs from the Infinitree, or you can assign them to carve those logs into the planks, or you can assign them to cleanse the blight. And in this area specifically, you can mix and match your quantities however you want. You could have all 3 harvesting and then switch all 3 to carving, switch all 3 to cleansing. You could do 1 of each, as you can see in the screenshot, or 2 and 1 and 0. Any combination of things. That's it in a nutshell, I think. Now, the one sort of important thing to sort of bring it, the way this sort of works is harvesting is the default state. The reason for that is you can always harvest, right? You can always, as long as you have droids on there, you're always going to be looting these literary logs. But in the carving state, you have to have logs in order to carve them into planks. So harvesting is the default, and every time you click a plus button into harvesting or cleansing or whatever, or sorry, carving or cleansing, every time you click a plus button, it's pulling one droid away from harvesting and into that new task. Yeah, as you're demonstrating here. I'm just, I'm a little like out of sync from what I'm seeing versus what I'm saying. So Dave might be already explaining something that I'm trying to explain, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a learning curve thing that we're going through a little bit as well. So, there's pros and cons, and but yeah, like Norm said, the default state is them harvesting like that as well. That's why harvesting doesn't have a plus or a minus button, because you can move them away to harvest. So a little bit of the con to that is if you want to move from cleansing to carving, you have to kind of take away from cleansing and then move it back to carving. But we were iterating a little bit there, and that was kind of where we ended up the best balance between what we could realistically accomplish as part of the interface and what we had time to do as well. So I think it turned out pretty well. It's awfully cute seeing those droids moved around, even in the chat. Some wows at the art, and absolutely there is some really cool looking art as you hunt and navigate, and the blight grows and you fight it back. The HUD state changing to give you feedback to see what the blight's at is also really cool looking.
Yeah, absolutely. Like each of those little sort of sections for that blight progress bar at the top, the HUD changes depending on which one you're in. It's pretty spectacular. So yeah, it's an extraordinary head. The art is just out of this world, and also the developers who put it all together did an absolutely phenomenal job.
I see a comment in the chat that in that screenshot, you're a little low on condensed creativity there. Yeah, I figured somebody might notice that as well. We're setting up the test environment. Sometimes it's easier just to start with a little bit of everything, but that's a lot of something, I guess. But
yeah,
it kind of depends on what we're testing sometimes. We want to test in a way where, well, I'm not going to run out while I'm doing something. So you know, asking, the cleansing affects the top bar for bonus loot. I think you've got it right there, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good thing to sort of clarify, I guess, so that so your goal here, like fighting the blight, that sort of concept, is you're trying to reduce the amount of blight. So when you first show up, the blight is maxed out. It's 1,000 out of 1,000. Everything is just covered in this horrible purple goo. And as you cleanse, so you need to have droids actively cleansing, the blight will start to reduce. And that's the sort of green bar moving from left to right. As you do so, as you move into each of those sections, the droid's productivity increases. So, you can see the little ×1, ×2, ×4, ×8. So the less blight, the harder they work and the more they can produce every hunt. So as you can probably imagine how this might kind of start off a little slow and then snowball as you get better and move further and that kind of thing. They can start producing more and more per hunt.
I was going to set that up so we can see the start of it. I had a little trouble getting the blight to come back. I guess I'm just too good. My droids were trying to.
Flex. Dave's flexing.
Yeah. So when you show up, that purple, that's the blight. The purple's bad. You don't want to see that purple goo growing all over what should be a lush and healthy growing forest. So we can kind of play around here. I'll arm my Manchego. And I gotta get my droids to be cleansing. Well, we got a lot of cleanup to do here, so let's put all 3 droids to cleanse. Let's fight that blight. And the meter at the top starts moving to the right, basically saying, you're cleaning up. I think I need a better trap than the ambush. I was trying to get the blight to go back down. I don't think I'm gonna have a lot of success.
You might notice as Dave changes his cheese choice, that also affects the droid's productivity. So you could probably surmise that as you go up the tiers of cheese, you can get more productivity each hunt.
Yeah, so it was completely purple. You can just start to see some blades of grass starting to peek through a little bit as the cleansing kicks into the ×2 zone. So Much of the folklore forest, a little bit of a theme of loot multipliers is certainly nothing new to the region either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, shall we
Yeah.
move on from the acres? And you're collecting all these poetic planks, and you're gonna be what are you gonna be constructing with those planks to help you out? the
Okay.
falls?
So you're going to take those planks and you're going to build them into barrels to ride the rapids towards the waterfall in the Epilogue Falls. So pretty classic, you know. Gotta take barrels to the falls. That's that's a sort of a given. So yeah, you start the area. You come in here. You bring some planks. There are tiers of barrels. You know, the first tier of barrel costs a quantity of planks. The higher tiers of barrels cost planks in addition to other things. And this area is there's lots of different loot here, lots of things to get. The zone you're in determines what type of loot you're getting, and this is where you come to get the ingredients to make those fancy cheeses that you see in the screenshot, the higher tier cheeses.
So you're definitely
In
going to want
addition
to
to other
visit the
things.
falls to get these tiers of cheese, and they'll help you in both the acres and the falls, right?
That's right. Yep, they have their own unique effects in both areas. So you earn them from here, but you can use them in both. And you know which area you choose to use which cheese entirely up to you. Depends on what your specific goal is at any given time, and how many of them you have at any given time as well, of course. But yeah, so the two areas are very very interconnected. So like unlike something like, say, for example, the farm and the pond are connected in that they sort of both lead to the table of contents. These two areas are more interconnected. It's a lot, there's more back and forth, and things in one area help in the other area, and that sort of thing.
So you don't want to spend too much time in the acres. I mean, depending on what your goals are. But if you've been in the acres for a while, all the cheese comes from the falls. So you definitely want to at least visit the falls from time to time. Maybe explore some of those higher tier of cheese. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, except for the first tier of cheese. The first tier of cheese you can get in the acres by just hunting with standard bait, like Gouda or Super Brie or whatever. But the higher tiers, the two tiers above that, have to come from the falls.
And one kind of neat thing about the waterfall is that although you're moving forward, it can be beneficial to move backwards sometimes. Is that right?
That is right. So there's certainly, I'm sure you can draw some parallels to maybe some other things, other parts of the game. But one of the unique bits of this mechanic is that yes, you can go backwards, and sometimes it is beneficial to do so. So even though your ultimate goal is to sort of reach the end, sometimes you're actually better to get to a certain point and then work your way back to stay in a specific zone for longer. You might notice
go forward again. You can
Yeah.
really go back, and when you find that zone you're looking for, you can get to the end of it, and then let your droids drift back a little bit to also enjoy that loot while you're moving backwards. But careful, if you go back too far, you might leave that zone, and you can go back forward again. So it's the area where you can be a little bit more active to really maximize your loot collection capabilities, or you can also be pretty chill. You can arm a cheese that you're looking for, see how far you get, and you're always going to come back with a quantity of loot that you can use to make the higher tiers of cheese.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're 100%. If you choose to be active, you can be sort of rewarded for that, and you have like more control. But of course, it's more time and more attention and stuff like that. Or you can play a little bit more passively and just collect it over time. Yeah, I would say between the two areas, the falls is definitely the more active, and the acres is the more passive. But again, either area can be played either way. But yeah, it all just depends on your playstyle and what you're going for.
Yes, in the chat noticing that's the draconic depths in the background. That is kind of a neat little Easter egg as you're cruising down the river, seeing what's passing by off in the distance. Was an awfully nice touch that the art team put on that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but the HUD in this area in particular it's extra. I mean, they're both extraordinary, but as you move along that background changes, and it's just amazing. It really, it's so cool. You just get this perspective of Narnia that shifts depending on where you are in the river. There's a parallax effect. It's so cool. It's so cool. Everybody did an amazing job.
It's a little bit, it was before your time, Nor, but the Calamity Carl's cruise kind of reminds me of, because you're on a ship and you're doing this tour of Rodentia and you're going through all the various zones, and it just makes me think of sightseeing. It's like, oh yeah, there's the tribal owls off in the distance. Oh, there's the iceberg. We're doing a lap. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I've heard the tales of Carl.
The zones are random or not?
They are not. Great question. No, they are not. They are fixed. They are always in the same position. They always have the same start and the same end and the same loot type and the same loot quantities. So they are predictable. They're always the same, and they're like that for a reason. That to make sure that it's possible to get all the way to the end, right? And to get the loot you need to do so. But yes, no, they are fixed and set.
Yeah, even that bar across the top, that kind of maps out the zones, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And you can see there's two little arrow buttons on the HUD there, forward and backward. If you click those, you can zoom ahead as like a preview. You're not zooming your actual barrel. You're just using a preview. I think the Sunken City has something similar, where you can sort of look ahead a little bit. And this one, you can go all the way to the end and come all the way back, sort of see where each zone is. So the moment you enter the area, you could map out all the zones just by clicking that button or whatever. Of course, in order to loot them, you have to send your barrel there. But yeah,
that's pretty fun.
It's so fun. Oh my god, it's so cool. And you see, obviously they get longer.
The required trap type. So yeah, we did share that not too long ago. The Acres is tactical and the Falls is hydro.
That is correct. Yeah.
So those are some good goals to set as well. If you're looking to upgrade your tactical or your hydro traps ahead of venturing into the two new areas, that's a good goal to set as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sour asking, do you recall which area was the most intensive area to develop?
Oh wow, that's I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how to answer that. It's possible that it could be these ones simply because there are 3 areas. I mean, there's 2 of them that are releasing very soon, but there's a 3rd one that we're already developing, and design-wise, they were all designed at the same time, and I don't know. This particular release has been certainly a big one. Hence why we sort of had to split it up into 2 release dates, just for the reality of time. There was just no way we could get all 3 of them done to the level of quality that we wanted within a reasonable amount of time. Because as you can see, like, the art and the development is absolutely top notch in these areas. Like they just absolutely outdid themselves. So this is pretty big. Yeah, I'm leaning towards this one being the biggest. I mean, hey, you know what? Ask me again in a few months when it's finished, and I'll probably better answer. But it's probably going to be this one.
Yeah, the table, the fawn, and the pond, the table, and the farm. If you want to combine farm and pond into one, it becomes the fawn. Yeah.
Yeah, to save time.
Being 3 areas, those were pretty meaty as well. 3 unique mechanics, 3 HUDs to build. Lots of mice.
Yep.
It got me wondering, even outside the folklore forest. I mean, the floating islands, especially if you add the Sky Palace on top, that was a pretty beefy one. The whole Queso Canyon region, although that came together surprisingly quick a little bit. The geyser was probably challenging, but the fact that they kind of had the same tiers of cheese, there's something about just everything started to fall into place and click pretty well on that one.
Yeah, floating islands that's certainly got to be up there. So I was hired. You guys were like midway through development of floating islands, I think, when I was hired, and I remember kind of looking at that and be like, "Whoa, what is going on here?" Because I was so like everything was so new and shiny, and at a certain point later in development, I was lucky enough to be able to contribute some of the writing along with Franco. He sort of took me under his wing, and I was able to work on some of that stuff, but that was the extent of my involvement with that area, which is a great area. So I'm actually there right now. I love that area.
Yeah, I think it has the most mice now. For a while, the Sunken City had that title. That was a pretty big area to build as well. Even way
Mm,
back in the day, I remember the Tribal Isles also being quite the undertaking, but it was a very different circumstance of building everything way back then as well. So we're fighting as many
yeah.
technical challenges as we did creative challenges, as we were kind of building our tools at the same time that we wanted to build stuff with those tools. So kind of
Mm,
it's like climbing uphill in a little bit sometimes. Well, I see a few
yeah.
questions about rewards. Should we
Mm.
touch on those a little bit?
I suppose let's give the people what they want.
What's an epic journey without finding some treasures at your destination and a few along the way
Indeed.
as well?
Mm.
But yeah, I know. What can you touch on in terms of what hunters will unlock, what new equipment and abilities they may find in these first 2 of 3 areas?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, as you can guess, but also just see on the slide in front of you here, the folklore motif codices. There'll be some new entries in that. You can probably surmise that. A couple of them will be Hydra related and a couple will be tactical related. So those will come along, and just like all of them, those are full-on global codices that will help you anywhere in the game. Or once you unlock them, they are sort of a permanent boost as long as you have that power type armed. Those are pretty cool. And we got some new traps. So there is a new tactical traps specifically designed for players who haven't quite reached the slumbering boulder yet. It's a good trap. It's a good trap for the area, but the slumbering boulder and then of course the chrome slumbering boulder are both stronger. But this is even if you haven't quite reached it yet and you want to jump into the area, you can go in and pick this thing up, and it'll give you a nice head start if you don't have those other traps. And then of course there are going to be 2 new hydro traps, and I'm not going to say anything more about those because they're really fun and exciting and cool, and I don't want to spoil anything. And you guys are going to find out so soon anyway. But yeah, 2 new hydro traps. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, some question about the tactical. I mean, Norm, you made clear it's not as good as the slumbering boulder. It's certainly something you've probably seen in some other areas where you show up and the trapsmith may have something for sale, and it's appropriate for the area, but it's not quite the best of the best for that either. So it lays out an alternative path. Is it still a good idea to have the best of the best? Well, of course that's every little bit's going to help as well, but it's an alternative option as well. If you don't mind going a little bit slower, missing another mouse every now and then, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I will say though, grain of salt here, the art for that trap is so amazing that you might want to use it anyway.
It's pretty funny
It's a few
too.
failure to catch but here and there, but oh man, that is a fun trap. It is so cool.
It makes you
Oh
smile
man,
when
yeah,
you look
you'll
at
see.
that one a little
Oh,
bit.
it's so
Kelly
funny
did the
and
trick,
fun.
right?
Kelly did that one, and
Yeah.
it's just I can't look at it and not laugh. I love it so much. I love it so much.
Yeah, but
So
there's certainly been areas like that, even as far back. I think Fort Rocks, the Judge Droid trap was introduced, if I'm not mistaken. And at the time too, it was a little bit of a feat to have the best law trap at the time. So you could use the Judge Droid as well to at least get your feet wet, try out the area, see what you think. Maybe you're just popping in to do the adventure, and then okay, I think I'm gonna go work on another goal. Okay, Judge Droid would work well enough, but if you're really gonna sink your teeth in and get every last little, explore every last nook and cranny of Fort Rocks, it's like, well, you should probably something better than the Judge Droid. So it's just have a few more options available depending on what your goals are.
yeah, table of contents even has a more recent example as well, where with the table of contents, the Chrome Thought Obliterator had released just before, but then with the table of contents, you could buy the Tome of the Mind's Eye, which was a forgotten trap that wasn't as good as the Thought Obliterator, but it was better than the Thought Manipulator, which was the first tier version. So same kind of thing. It's to sort of help you catch up if you haven't done that above and beyond stuff yet. Don't worry, you can still jump in and grab this trap and have a good time.
Yeah, and for the most part, haven't really seen any friction around that. Seems like the feedback's been positive. Certainly, hunters can let us know if that's kind of something you like to see as new endgame areas are added. Do you like to see an alternative trap that's available for gold? But maybe it's not quite the best trap out there, but it's enough to at least get you started and see what you think of an area before you decide to maybe, okay, I'm going to go back, get something that's a little more above and beyond because I like this area. I want to explore everything about it. All right, it's worthwhile to me. I'm going to decide to bring the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just liking the tactical luck codex. I thought that was awfully clever as well. There was even a moment when I was grabbing, like, wait, is this the power of the luck one? And then about half a second later, I go, oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah,
Okay.
clever, right?
A little more obvious with the hydro, which one's the power, which one's the luck. But the tactical one, that was a bit of a cute detail.
Yeah, it's very cool. There's a question here. Where was it here? Do you need to complete the Draconic Depths adventure before starting the adventure for the new area? You don't. If you get the map piece from the Farben Table Loot event, from the pre-release, then no, you don't. Like, the adventure itself is not a requirement to start, but to buy the map piece from the Draconic Depths, you do need to have completed that adventure there. So, yeah, short answer: if you get the map piece during the Farm to Table event that starts next Tuesday, then no, you don't have to finish that. But afterwards, yes, you would have to finish the Draconic Depths adventure in order to buy it from the cartographer there.
Yeah, Sour Mash saying that skin looks cool. To clarify, there is a little way down at the bottom there. The turtle and the tortoise there are traps. They are not trap skins. Those are the two.
That is correct.
Just a little peek at the two new hydro traps coming as part of the falls.
Mm-hmm.
Scratch and do things. Getting the strongest trap of a power type is always worth it. Well, it goes to show different hunters have different goals as well. Some like those above and beyond extra challenging stuff, but it's nice that there's kind of a path to go, either way. Because at the end of the day, even if you miss an extra mouse here and there, you can still complete adventures. You can work on King's Crown. There's a lot you can pursue, and it's everyone can kind of decide what's important to them in that moment, at least based on their short and long term goals. And sometimes you have short term goals that turn into long-term goals, and you change your mind. It's like, okay, now I'm going to go and I'm going to pursue that above and beyond things.
Mm.
YX asking, if we're looking forward or looking ahead a little bit, I don't know if you want to share too many details on how will the third area kind of plug into these first two.
So yeah, I obviously don't want to give, I don't want to spoil anything or whatever, but I think what I can say is that it will very much connect to these areas in a similar way that the table of contents connects to the farm and the pond. You can probably imagine there are some very intentional parallels, right? With the first three being the beginning, this final trilogy being the end. There are some, parallels just in the way the mechanics are very different, but like in the way they connect. Oh, and you're just gonna show it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So it is very. And I'll go so far as to say there is an item that you loot from the falls that you will need for the final area, which, as you can see, is called the Conclusion Cliffs.
I think we were pretty settled on that. It's more fun to have an actual name to refer to things than a theoretical third area.
Absolutely, you're right. Yeah, we might, and yeah, you're gonna find it soon enough anyway. So yeah, so absolutely, they are meant to, and in the grand scheme of things, when they're all three of them released, you'll eventually be sort of cycling back as part of it, just like in the table of contents where you use your final draft, and then when you run out you go back to the farm and the pond to collect the resources to come back and do it again, and so forth. It's all part of the same loop. So same here, all three areas are part of one loop, and just in this particular case, because we happen to be releasing the first two ahead of it, you'll have I guess some extra time to loot up some of the items from the falls that will be necessary for the cliffs.
Some pretty good speculation about power types going on, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what plans may shift and change over time. The Mythweaver's crafty.
Mm-hmm.
Peter asking if the areas will have upgrades similar to the pond and the farm.
No, not. There won't be permanent upgrades in that sense.
No, there's certainly it's resources, ways to improve your abilities there in a way, but it's all kind of resource driven. In a way, it reminds me a little bit in a very theoretical way, not a literal way, of the Great Winter Hunt. You know, when it starts out and your snow golems are low level and it takes a while to kind of get snowballing a bit, it kind of has a similar progression, but with resources rather than like leveling up and unlocking upgrades like you do in the Winter Hunt. It kind of feels like as I get going, I have more access to get bigger loot multiplier, so I can kind of sustain myself a little bit better. So it kind of picks up pace the longer you stay in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's an absolutely fair comparison.
Well, this week's trivia, shall we take a look here? And we have Norm to thank. He thought of the trivia question this week, which
Yeah.
you do every now and then as well. I just take credit for.
That's fine. As long as I get that reward link, Dave, you can take all the credit you want.
All right. But yeah, it's you know, as we kind of look forward to the conclusion of the Mythweaver tale here, you know, Norm looked back at where things started, and this week's trivia question: what 3 items were used to construct the legendary Looking Glass? That was the map piece you needed to start this entire storyline way back then. To have access to the farm, the pond, and the table of contents. It was what the floating islands led to.
Mm-hmm.
And that had a pre-release event to build the legendary Looking Glass. And it was a little involved. That was a fun one too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Did I write down the answer? Hold on a second here, Nora.
I messaged it to you.
Hold on a second. I'm about to embarrass myself here. I got a preview. Nobody look. I don't even know what the answer is, Norm. You got to read the chat.
I do know the answers. Oh, yeah. So also, I realized I should have probably slightly rephrased the question to say what 3 unique items. But I would say the answer looks like goes to YX. Got it first. So it was the liquid lens, the antique frame, and the tactical grip. And as YX mentioned, there was also gold and an Empyrean jewel. But what I meant to say was which unique items. So those are the 3. So points go to YX.
Yeah. Tactical grip was the one I could always remember because I just always thought that was kind of hilarious that you have this mirror and it has a tactical grip on it.
Tactical. I got my tactical mirror. Absolutely.
You're out there in the middle of an action film. Hold on, I gotta check my hair. Yeah, still looks good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put this link in the chat as well for easy clicking convenience here. As soon as I can copy paste it, at least. I think I've already clicked the link to test it out. Did I already claim this?
Let's see what we got
Sure
here. I'm going to
did.
test it right now. And oh yeah.
With the reward, there's some rainbow charms that tie with a little bit of the rainbow theme going on here with the upcoming Rainbow Quill, the Rainbow Inkwell, Rainbow Nibs. Which the quill looks cool. You know, this big sparkle I got right here. You know, So we really like that pre-release. We've done quite a few over the years, actually, and it they've been very different and unique at times as well. I remember was it the Beanstalk where you had the companion?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. You had the companion, which was like a sort of a scavenger hunt map, and then there was 3 layers of it. You'd loot, you'd open the chest to get the next companion to go for the. Yeah, we've done some pretty fun ones. They were fun to work on. They were like silly and zany, and sometimes even like programming them, be like, okay, how am I going to do this weird thing we want to do? And we'd figure it out, I also have fond memories of a lot of those pre-releases.
Yeah, and it seemed like they had positive feedback from players, and I think it was a good spot because there's something fun about solving a mystery. And even if it's a little, there's a few red herrings in the mix. It's a little convoluted trying to figure out the solution, but it's fun because everyone's doing the same thing at the same time. Whereas maybe there's been things like that in the game, but they don't withstand the test of time. They're really fun when it's new and everyone's trying to, solve this mystery together. It's that sense of community that makes everything fun. But then 10 years go down the road and you're like, wait, what is that? Why is this so complicated? It's like, well, it's meant for 100 people to figure out, not one person. So it's kind of a good opportunity to still put that into the game without it aging poorly over the course of years.
Yeah. I'm glad we sort of made it pretty much just that pre-release and then made it a little bit easier afterwards, But yeah, it sure was fun to just sort of like watch the Discord, and everyone's collaborating and coming up with theories and sharing their results, and it's a unique experience. It really shows you how multiplayer MouseHunt is.
Yeah, in its
You
own
know,
unique way.
in its own unique way, absolutely.
Well, Joseph asking if there's any new charms coming. Now, I don't know because I just clicked that Larry reward link, Norm. So,
Well, so I'm actually okay. I wasn't gonna say anything, but you actually revealed it accidentally, but I didn't see anyone comment on it, so I didn't want to say anything in case it was missed. But now that I've said anything, they're just gonna go back and find it. But yeah, maybe if you want to scrub through the stream, Dave accidentally,
I
or
sure
maybe it was
did. It's right
intentional.
at
I
the
don't know.
top, eh?
I know you did. I know you did.
It's your fault for
But
starting me with 10,000 of them for some reason.
I
You know?
did. I do.
I
I
couldn't
did that,
use them
didn't I?
all.
That's right. Whoops, I did that.
I had to
That's
test them
right.
to make sure they worked 10,000 times.
I forgot those were in the testing loadout. Yeah. Oh well. So there you go. There's a little spoiler that wasn't meant to be a spoiler, but it's
It's not a Feedback Friday till there's some spoiler. That's my version
there.
of
You
it.
go.
Jacob's version is the file browser and Photoshop. I know he doesn't use Photoshop, but his image software, it's the saved file list over there. It's like, wait, why does that say Chrome something or other? Oh, I see what's going on here. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
he's gonna have to start naming his files nonsense. Just mash the keyboard. He won't be able to find anything ever.
Oh yeah. Great.
Sounds productive.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody brought me on a hunt. I was picking up my phone to hunt, and somebody brought me.
No.
Thank you, John. John brought me on a hunt. All right.
Mm.
Well, is that a wrap, Norm? Anything else you want to cover today?
Oh well, we better stop now, Dave, before we spoil more things that we're not meant to spoil. There's lots of stuff coming. It's coming very soon. Farm to Table starts on August 19th, and I think we've already said the release date for the actual new areas, right? Like we can reiterate that, correct?
I don't know if we touched base on that all today, and that's probably some pretty exciting news to share as well.
Let's do it. Let's just do it. Okay, so if we haven't done it already, the new areas are releasing on Tuesday, September 2nd. So exactly 2 weeks after the beginning of the Farm to Table event. So as the Farm to Table event ends, like literally immediately as it ends, 2 new areas will spring up in MouseHunt.
I think we at least alluded to it, saying when the Farm to Table starts, it lasts for 2 weeks, and it's the pre-release to celebrate the 2 new areas. So
yeah, so those math savvy can figure it out. Yeah. But yeah,
well
so
rested
pretty soon.
after a long weekend as well. So we'll be ready. We'll be rested and ready to fight blight and navigate the falls.
I'm excited. I mean, I've been fighting blight for months, but I'm excited to do it in the live game. So
always feels a little different.
It always sure does. It sure does. Yeah.
YX asking, we might be getting too far ahead of ourselves because I think we're looking past event season even here, or at least into the mix of it. But asking about treasure maps. I mean, we can go as far as say maps won't be part of the initial release.
No, yeah, for sure. Like we might as well just say right now, like there will not be a treasure map release before Part 2 releases, because we really want to focus on getting Part 2 done and out as soon as possible. And then, of course, we will definitely have treasure maps that come afterwards, and they haven't been designed yet, but they will most likely be maps for the full 3 areas together. But yeah, we are like heads down, working hard on Part 2 right now, so that we can get it to you as soon as possible.
And there's pros and cons, and definitely sometimes it can be a little hard to wait for a map sometimes, but it's also a good opportunity to get feedback from players as well, and that helps shape some of the treasure map releases as well, and it's proven useful as the years have gone by. And then as always, kind of keep our eye on feedback to see if we want to keep doing things that way or not. But this is a unique opportunity as well, I'd imagine, with Conclusion Cliffs coming after the first 2 areas as well. You can kind of watch a little bit of feedback and even get all the more information put into the brains as we're pulling together the conclusions. So.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
A scratching dude saying, friendly reminder, you need a sip of coffee, Dave. I'm a little sad. I finished my entire coffee, and Norm, I'll thank you, right? Because while you're speaking, I get to drink coffee. So that really is a pretty beneficial thing going on.
You finished
here.
that full keg of coffee already?
Yeah, a keg, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
my blood pressure is approaching the levels of the Infinitree here. But... All right, well, I guess that is a wrap, Hunter. So again, this coming Tuesday, that's August 19, the very next Tuesday, a farm-to-table loot event is starting up. You can get a new quill. If you haven't already, make sure you get the silver and the gold quill. You'll need those to really maximize the farm-to-table loot event. So that's a great goal to set for yourself if you're close to it before the event starts. It'll be an opportunity to get the new map piece to be able to unlock Afterword Acres and Epilogue Falls. Those are coming September 2nd, which is a Tuesday. I'm asking for trouble saying dates from memory, but Tuesday, September 2nd, those two areas, they will be unlocked by a map piece that you will be able to obtain for free as a loot drop. It'll cost you some cheese and some of your time, but you can get it as a loot drop from the Farm to Table event as well. If you don't get the map piece during the Farm to Table loot event, then you'll be able to purchase it in the Draconic Depths for a number of opals. That is pretty well set in stone, but we'll wait to see what that is. We won't spoil that. We'll save that for another day.
Yeah.
Well, Norm, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't think I've been on here for about a year, so yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show, Dave.
Ooh, all right. Well, Hunters, we'll see you next time. I imagine it'll be Jacob next week, and then I think we're having a little company get-together on the 29th, actually, come to think of it. So I don't think there'll be a Feedback Friday on the 29th. So it'll probably be Jacob next week. Then we'll probably miss a week of Feedback Friday, and then the next one, hey, the Afterword Acres should be released because we'll be into September.
Yeah, so maybe we can have a little session to see, get some feedback on the area that's out and what people think of it so far after the first few days.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining me, Norm. Thanks for joining me, Hunters. Have a fantastic weekend. Happy hunting. See you next time.
Take care.
2.
You're a trap, don't seem to mind it. You attract me, I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it. Soft and furry, oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. You don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cruel. Just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. And just when you think you're safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe.